Ladies and gentlemen, independent Americans around the country and around the world. This is a moment I told you was coming, and now it is here. A great friend of the show, a true inspiration to America and the world. Finally, back on Independent Americans. Now, Governor Wes Moore, the great and powerful Wes Moore, is back on Independent Americans. Welcome back, Governor.
I'm just so excited to be back on Independent Americans, man. I miss you, Paul.
I miss you. I miss you a lot, but I am so inspired by you, so proud of you. We are all so proud of you, and the whole country is proud of you, and the whole world's about to be proud of you. And it's just awesome to see everything you're doing and just to see your face. I hope Dawn and you and the kids are all well.
We are, man. We are. And same with you and Lauren and the whole crew, man. I mean, it's been a spectacular ride. And it's been improbable, right? I mean, like when we first started this journey, we always said we're polling at 1%. There was nothing expected and nothing given about this journey. This is just, this whole movement has just been built by a whole bunch of people who just believed and believed early and believed heavy. So we're excited about where we are. And we're excited about what we're getting done right now.
Well, I love that you frame it that way, but a lot of folks saw this coming. This run may have been improbable, or this campaign, but this trajectory has not been improbable, and it's been something that I think many of us have seen coming or have been rooting for a long time. A dear friend of ours, who shall remain nameless, sent me a note and said, "It's happening." And when I said, "Yeah, it's happening," it was like, it was a matter of when you were going to take the plunge, man. We all wanted you to run, and we all are going to continue to want you to run because we know what you're capable of and how you represent so many people beyond yourself. So, I know you're saying it's improbable, but not in my view. This was imminent. This was inevitable. And the only question was whether you were going to put your family and yourself out there in a way to do it.
Yeah. Well, but you know what though, I got to tell you, I mean, there's one, and I say this from the bottom of my heart. It's like we were never alone on this journey. You know what I mean? Like this whole process has been done with the people. When we say that this whole thing was people powered, we mean it was people powered. From every idea, every gathering, every rally that first started off with just a handful and then started growing and growing and growing. Where we knew we wanted to stay focused on the issues that we thought were important and the work that we were doing beforehand. And I tell you what too, man, I mean, and I remember a conversation we had years ago really also resonated with me, is that sometimes you'll see people who will get into this world and get into this space and just totally change, right? Like you see them and you're almost like, I don't even recognize this person anymore. And I made a vow at the beginning of this journey. I said, I have no problem spending all day long introducing myself to people who don't know me. I won't spend a second reintroducing myself to people who do. It's how can you just stay committed to why you're doing this in the first place, on the issues that you were working on beforehand, but now just believe that being able to add a state budget behind the stuff that you're trying to get done is the right thing to do. And I think we've just tried to stay committed and consistent to it.
Well, it's always been bigger than you. That's why it's been happening. I feel like, you've represented so many other people who've been voiceless from the beginning. I mean, we were sharing pictures 10 years ago. You were on Capitol Hill with IAVA advocating. Now you're in the governor's mansion.
Look younger, by the way. You look younger now than you did 10 years ago. When you sent me that picture, what did I write you?
I just look skinnier is what I do, because I was fat.
I wrote you. I said, what is this, like Benjamin Button?
Yeah, but I don't know about you, man, because you look like you're getting younger. And I want to say, like, there's a part of this that's so exciting because you're built for this. Like you like this, you're good at it, but like the way you connect with people, I've always said this to you and to others, you have a magic, man. Like you're built for this. You have a power that connects with people in a way like I've never seen. And I want to get to a couple things. We don't have a lot of time. Let me ask you this, because I got to ask you this. This is fun to ask you now. I ask every guest, where are you and how are you?
I love it. And I love that you always start that. I'm blessed. I really am. And I tell you, I feel I always say when people say, how you doing? I say, I'm prayed up and I'm armored up. Where you know, I feel very, very blessed in this moment, and blessed by the fact that the family is doing wonderful. The transition has been incredibly smooth. I'm grateful for the fact that, frankly, you know, my predecessor, you know, that we had a very orderly and a pretty smooth transition, which is ironic because it made national news. And I'm like, yo, is that really where we are as a country? That a smooth transition from one party to another makes national news. But I also say that, you know, that so while I'm very blessed, you know, we're armored up, because we also know that, you know, the work we're trying to get done, it's not easy. When we say, yes, I want to make sure that we can make this the most veteran friendly state in the entire country, and make sure we're providing tax relief to veterans who are retiring. And I also want to make sure that we are getting to a, you know, having an enhanced earned income tax credit and making permanent the child tax credit, and fight child poverty like this state has never seen before. This isn't easy stuff. I also know that we're ready for it. And with the team that we built, like you said, we're built for this, and we're ready to go go make some big things happen.
And the where are you is, you are in the governor's mansion. You are you are in the governor, or you're in the office, but you are in the governor's mansion. You're representing the dreams and hopes and aspirations of so many people. And now they're already calling you the hottest politician since Barack Obama. Joe Biden spends more time with you than he does with his wife or with Kamala Harris or anyone else. He's going to be with you again tonight in Baltimore. You know, everybody's already talking about you being, you know, a candidate for president. I know you're going to be diplomatic about that, but I've been telling people this could happen fast. I mean, you could be there in 6 years. If Joe Biden gets sick or doesn't want to run, it could be even faster. So I'm going to ask you straight out. I'm your friend. My father keeps saying, I hope he runs. Everybody I know says, I hope he runs. They want you there now. I know you're going to focus on Maryland, but you know, what can you tell people who say they want you to run for president and they want you there quickly because we need someone, we need you?
I would tell people that I'm playing with house money right now, man. I mean, you know, think about it. It's like, and you know this, I'm literally decades away from being an 11-year-old kid with handcuffs on my wrists. And now I'm the governor of a state. I'm the governor of my birthplace. You know, I literally am staring at a picture right now that's in my office that is from the Maryland Archives. It's literally the handwritten letter that George Washington wrote resigning his commission. I mean, it's the foundation. I'm sitting in the office that is the foundation of our democracy. And so I love what we're doing. And I think that Maryland, I mean, I believe deeply, this is going to be Maryland's decade. This is going to be Maryland's time to lead. This is going to be Maryland's time for the rest of the country to be able to take note about how fast we're moving, and that we can be both more competitive and more equitable. And it is not a choice. We are going to do both. And I'm loving the fact that that you know, the eyeballs are really on what Maryland can actually get done right now in this moment, because I think we're going to surprise and impress a lot of people.
Well, that's the answer I would expect. But I also know, like, you know, when you are a quarterback that is changing the game, and there's this like generational change that's happening in politics, right? Like Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump and Joe Biden, a lot of these people are in their 80s. And there is a new generation that plays the game in a new way and represents new skill sets, but also brings people together in a different way. And you are, I think, the start of this new generation of dynamic leaders that can bring people together. You keep talking about that. You and Republican Larry Hogan coming together. I expect you to say it's going to be Maryland's decade, but Maryland can't get too greedy because America's on fire and we need you here, you know, at the national level too. So let me ask you this. It's Independent Americans. Part of what you're doing is bringing together all Americans. You're redefining patriotism. You're reaching independents and you're reaching Republicans. We're friends. I wish you ran as an independent. I understand you're running as a Democrat, but can you talk about why you think you are uniquely connecting with independents and Republicans?
Yeah, but I think part of it is because we're actually reaching out. You know, here's the thing. I actually tell people, you know, and I tell people we would go campaign everywhere, right? From Western Maryland to the Eastern Shore. And we campaigned in a lot of areas that there weren't a lot of Democrats. And we did it during the primary and we did it during the general. And people would tell us, like the consultant class and like that would be like, well, you don't need to spend time out there because there's no votes out there. You know, why are you going out there? There's no Democrats. And my answer was always the same. Yeah, but there's a lot of Marylanders. And I plan on being their governor too. And the first visit that I did, Paul, the first visit that I did as governor was actually out to Mountain, Maryland. I went to a place called Laconia because they were having a water crisis. And we went out there, not just to bring supports, but to let this community know that this state government was going to focus on them, that we were leaving no one behind. And I remember the mayor of the town, when I arrived, he told me, he said, you know, there is not a Democrat within 3 miles of any direction that you're in right now. Yeah. And he said to me, he said, but I got to tell you something. He said, you're the first governor that's ever come here and visited us since 1996. 96. Mm-hmm. That's Democratic and Republican governors that had not spent time in Laconia. Yep. And I think part of the reason that we won by such a large margin, I mean, we won by the largest margin in close to 40 years. We received more individual votes than any candidate who'd ever run for governor in the history of the state of Maryland, right? So this thing wasn't even close. But I think part of the reason is because, you know, you don't get to that number by simply winning Democrats. We got to that number because we won Democrats, we won independents, and we won a huge chunk of Republicans. Because I think I think all this, the back and forth and the backbiting that people watch on cable television, or people kind of, you know, have in the, you know, the elements of the websites that they visit, they would think that this stuff is much more divided than it actually is, that I'm seeing in our real communities. So the way I know that this is real is because we are out there every day talking to people, and not just people who might agree with me or agree with a party. We're talking to everybody. And I think that's been the secret sauce to our success.
The secret sauce is you. Okay. I'm going to keep saying that. And I love that even the way you talk, you say we. That's how we were taught to speak in the military. That's how leaders talk. It's how Obama would talk. He would say it's about we, not me, right? And that is the inclusivity that I think people feel around your leadership. And you are changing the view of Democratic leadership for real, veterans leadership, American leadership. And I think that's going to continue because people are looking for leaders. They don't trust institutions. They don't trust states. They don't trust government. They don't trust parties, especially. And you're transcending that in a way that is very powerful. Part of it is that you're a veteran, right? And there are a lot of folks who've run as a veteran and it hasn't hit. Sometimes it does hit. Sometimes they overplay it. Sometimes they underplay it. But it's essential to everything you are. And you're out there scoring points for the community as well. A lot of different communities, for parents, for the poor, for working people, but for veterans. And I think you being out in front and keeping that a priority is really important and will resonate with all parties, especially. Quickly, I know you got to go soon. Talk about the Keep Our Heroes Home Act and what that's all about and why it's a priority, please.
So it's what the Keep Our Heroes Home Act is, making sure that we can have, right now the state of Maryland exempts $5,000 of military retirement. And it's also one of the big reasons why veterans don't want to retire in the state of Maryland, because even if you go just around our neighbors, you have other states that are much more generous. And what the Keep Our Heroes Home Act is in the process of this year, it raises that to $25,000. And in the process of the next year, in 2024, it makes it $40,000, which basically means you have over 92% of all veterans who will be fully tax exempt by staying in the state of Maryland. And people can look at this and say, and this is one of the 10 bills that I personally introduced. And by the way, this is the first time in 8 years that a governor has actually introduced a legislative agenda and testified on behalf of it. And of the 10 bills that I personally introduced, 7 of them have Republican co-sponsors. So we're building a bipartisan mechanism to get this done. And the thing that I say about this is people say, well, of course you would back this. You're a military veteran. And I say, yes, this bill is personal. Because my brothers and sisters, I want to make sure that we are not just saying thank you for your service and then not doing anything to even acknowledge it. But it's more than that. This is economics, right? Where the average age of a military retiree is 43 years old, this is a person who still has more careers left in them. This is someone who's going to buy homes and eat at restaurants and go to ball games and start businesses. And I don't want them doing that in other states. I want them doing that in Maryland. These are people who have already proven that they are public servants, that they believe in something bigger than themselves, that they understand what it means to build a sense of community and I want them to do it in the state of Maryland. And so this is one of the core bills that we are pushing to Keep Our Heroes Home Act of 2023 that we are going to get passed, because it's time that Maryland become the most veteran-friendly state inside of our country. We've got to make "thank you for your service" actually mean something. And I wanted to show from Jump Street, from our first days, that this was going to be a core priority for what we're trying to achieve.
Well, in the early days of IAVA, when you were around, we always said veterans are not a charity, they're an investment. And now you're paying that investment forward. You're a living example of that investment. I mean, I told you I wore this shirt today because it's my son's 4th birthday. It says, dad of the birthday boy. And I'm celebrating Rivers' 4th birthday, but we're talking about leadership, and they watch you and they're inspired by you. And that's very, very important for our young people to see someone they can look up to that brings positivity and energy and inspiration. And you're bringing a lot of that. I do have to let you go. I hope I'm going to get a quick fire series of Patreon questions, even though your comms person is going to kill me. I want to ask you lastly, talking about family, you got a new puppy. Talk about the newest member of the Moore family.
So his name is Tucker Balti, or Tucker Baltimore.
Very cute, by the way, right? Like, very cute.
I give my daughter credit for that one. I give my daughter credit, but he is he's a rescue puppy who is part Shih Tzu and part poodle. No, part what is he? He's like a mix of 3 different breeds.
Probably part bulldog, if I know.
No, but he's beautiful, and
he is beautiful.
He's beautiful, and he's 5 months old. And we were looking around, and we're talking to different organizations, and the SPCA and Barks, which is another shelter in Maryland. And they call us up one day, and they're like, "We think we found your puppy." And he is fast, and he is fearless, and he is so loved by these kids. And so we promised the kids that we were going to get a puppy for them come November, win, lose, or draw. It didn't matter. And so I say this is the first illustration of promises made and promises kept.
I love it. You said fast, fearless, and loved. I think that's how we feel about you, man. You're coming fast. You've been absolutely fearless, and you're well loved. I hope you'll come back when you can. It's exciting to watch your rise, man. Those who know you know that you signed every email with Elevate for many, many years. You are elevating, and you're bringing so many other folks with you, and we're all rooting for you. We've all got your back, and we're just so damn proud of you, man, and excited for the future. You're giving people a lot of hope, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful, of course, for your time and your friendship.
Man, I love you, brother. And listen, and it's right back at you. There is nobody, I have no friend that has been more committed, not just to veterans issues, but to truth, the way you have. And I admire you. I respect you. I have grown from you, and I love and I'm thankful for you with all my heart, you and your whole family. So God bless you, man. And thank you for all you do.
We love you. God bless you and the family. Best to Dawn and the kids and the new puppy. We got to hang out and maybe work out together so we can continue to stay fit. Right. You're looking better and better by the day. I'm trying to keep up with you there. And if you see Senator Tester, the chair of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, he's been challenging me to a basketball game for a long time. And I told him he can pick up his squad. I'm going to pick up mine. So I'm hoping I can get you and a couple other people, and then we can throw down with Tester, maybe raise some money for charity.
I would love it. Listen, I'll ride with you always. I don't know how much help I'm going to be with you on the basketball court at this stage with my knees, but I'll ride with you always.
Well, for a long time, many of us said it was going to be you against Eric Greitens for president. And that half of that is not going to happen anymore, but it might be you versus Ron DeSantis for president very soon. And that will be something that I think many of us will rally behind and will be rooting for, because we need you, man. And we're grateful for you. Go do a million things. Tell the president we all said hi, and that he should pick you as VP if he makes a change. And then if he's not feeling well and needs somebody to hold the bat phone for a little while, you're steady and ready.
I love you, brother. Thanks, man.
Stay vigilant, my friend.
You too, brother.